All right, so I'm going to be going over the Acolyte episode 3 here. I'm sure you read the title and know that. I need to address the last video I did on the Acolyte because I lost subscribers over that video. Now, I put out a video about Blue Eyes Samurai and how woke that is, and I got a lot of hate in the comments. Don't think I lost a single subscriber, though. With this one, I hardly received any hate on my review of the Acolyte episode 1 and 2. But apparently people were not happy with me. So I didn't point out Jedi body positivity. I overlooked that. I'll just address a couple things that I overlooked or didn't address. And I think that's just because it's everywhere now. We have to be inclusive of body positivity. And in addition to that, I'm not allowed to judge my students on their physical characteristics. I have to judge them on the merits of their performance. So train yourself to look past those things. You don't notice them as often. Another thing that people might have been mad about is me going, hey, look, this Jedi Master is levitating while he's meditating. That's pretty cool. And not addressing things like, well, why did he commit suicide? Yeah, that's stupid. Is it woke? Maybe, because he might have done it for white guilt reasons, because he is white, right? People might have also not liked the fact that I didn't point out the fire in space. Well, there's space worms in space, so yeah, things are goofy in Star Wars. There's no air in space. You can't have space worms. Back to the levitating master who's been, I guess it's inferred by some people that he's been meditating and levitating for 10 years. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he hasn't spoken in 10 years. He hasn't spoken to anyone in 10 years. So that means he's been in that position meditating and levitating for 10 years? Not necessarily. That's the way I took it. I was like, well, I'm sure he goes out and he eats and he bathes himself and he cuts his hair. I mean, I don't know if that was what people were thinking was stupid about it. I know I got some comments that are like, it's not woke, you're stupid, nothing is woke, you're just making stuff up. Okay, well, these are the people that don't understand what this whole culture war is about. These are the people that are winning the culture war and thinking that, I'm an idiot and I'm wrong and I'm far right. I have some beliefs that would put me squarely on the left side of the spectrum, so I don't know what to tell you. But we're going to take a look at this Acolyte episode 3, which is, holy crap. Wow. It is just something special. Let me tell you. Before we get started, please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. You can find me over on Rumble and on Twitter. BitChute Odyssey. We're going to go through this beat by beat, basically. And if you haven't seen the episode, if you haven't seen anybody reviewing it, prepare yourself, because it's not a pleasant experience. So we start off by being shown the planet, and again, it feels like Earth. This is the special tree here that we see. Again, it feels like Earth. Why don't you do some kind of crazy alien tree? No, we can't do that. It's just has yellow leaves. That happens sometimes on Earth. Anyway, so OSHA holds out her finger, and this little creature lands on it. They just like, I don't understand. Wild animals tend not to land on human beings. Insects are an exception, of course. Insects are bold enough to tell, just be like, hey, I don't care how much bigger than me you are. I'm going to get you. Okay, maybe this is some sort of insect-like creature. I don't know. But in addition to that, we have what is a completely unremarkable, in fact, repulsive child. You might disagree, but I'm sorry. She doesn't have anything redeemable about her appearance. And this is a problem because Hollywood used to be the home of all the beautiful people. And that's a problem because we used to have something to aspire to. We used to have something that, hey, look, these people are something we can try to be like. Now, this is just, everyday woman, well, girl in this case. Ridiculous. Then May shows up. And she's like, how'd you know I was here? And then May says, well, when I can't find you, I look here. Implying that this has been done before. And OSHA's never picked up on that fact, even though she's force sensitive. Okay. So the little creature that landed on OSHA's finger is flying around, and May stops it with telekinesis, as you can see right here on the screen. And OSHA gets mad at her and says, let it go, May, even though she, seconds ago, did the exact same thing to the animal. I don't understand why she's upset about this. She was doing the same thing. So then it quickly turns into a shouting match about why you messing with these animals, and then May's like, why are you running off alone? And notice how they are dressed exactly the same, with exactly same hair. Why? I mean, at first I was like, okay, maybe they have limited resources here, and so they have to dress the same. But why would they have the same hairstyle? It would be a lot easier to tell them apart if they had a different hairstyle. So as they're walking back to home through the forest, they stop and decide to do this little chant. Like, you know, kids used to do this stuff when I was a kid, not to this level of cringe, though. It was always like patty cake, whatever, you know, that sort of thing. This is beyond a silly little game. This is like, look how special we are and wonderful we are. We have this own little special chant that we do with each other, and we hold hands and spin around in a circle. And oh my, no, just no. You don't tell. You are telling the audience that they are sisters and they are bonded. You show the audience that they are sisters and that they are bonded. You don't tell. Just bad writing all around. And then angry mother shows up and starts yelling at them about how it's not safe out here. Again, you show us. You don't tell us. What is the big danger? What is the big bad here? No, we're never shown. Never. Not throughout the entire episode. We are never given an example of the danger in the forest. Ever. And this apparently is something that Osha does a lot, and May finds her here. Right? We were just told that in the beginning. Because we can't be shown anything. We have to be told everything in this episode. And before the mother escorts them back to their home, she looks around nervously to make sure that, you know, there's no danger. But there's a Jedi right here. The Jedi Squid Game is right here. In fact, he wasn't even behind the tree when we first see him. So we're given a shot of the place where the twins live. And things are feeling very Star Trek-like. Nothing against Star Trek, but Star Trek is not Star Wars, and that is one of the problems that I've had with this new Star Wars, Disney Star Wars, is that it feels too much like Earth. It feels too much like Star Trek. I've not seen very much of the Disney Star Wars. I've seen 2 seasons of The Mandalorian, 1 episode of Andor. I think I saw an episode of something else as well, and then I've seen this. And this is just not Star Wars. I'm sorry. None of it that I've seen. You can put lightsabers in it and talk about the Force all you want to. That doesn't make it Star Wars. So we get the sense that there is friction between these 2 women here. And the one on the left is like, they left the fortress again. And the one on the right is like, did anyone see them? And we saw the vastness of the forest there. And we're introduced to this planet by doing overhead shots of the forest and how vast it is. It's like, why would anybody ever see them? There's no reason for anybody to be out there in the wilderness. For some reason, this line is said, it's not going to stay safe if Osha keeps running away, talking about the planet that they're living on. They apparently need to have safe haven for some reason. And it's like, how is it that the planet is not going to remain a safe haven if Osha keeps running away onto another part of the planet? I don't understand. That doesn't make sense to me because it looks like it's a relatively uninhabited planet from what we have seen. At least this section of the planet that is within walking distance of the base. And this is just like, trust me, we're just easing our way in. You've probably watched other review videos. It gets really bad really soon. Okay, so we get introduced to the thread. Because, you know, why call it the Force? We already have a magic system inside of Star Wars. But no, that's not good enough. We got to go with the thread now. So then they go on about talking about how you can manipulate the thread and change everything. Kind of like the Sith want to do. Oh, so these are Sith. This is what we're learning now. These are the Sith. Okay, great. So then the mother gives the children their lesson, right? And the children, mind you, the whole time during the lesson, they're picking on each other whenever the mother's back is turned. Even though there's other women that can see them, that are facing them, they can be like, why are you stop messing around. Stop. This is not how children act when they know they can get in trouble if they can be seen messing with each other. But the lesson that the mother gives is the power of 1 and the power of 2. So the power of 1 is the lady on the left here comes forward and telekinetically battles with the mother. And the mother pushes her back. And then both ladies come forward and telekinetically battle with the mother. And the mother pushes them both back. And she says, look, the power of 1 versus the power of 2. Nothing is different. It's the same thing that happened both times. And then she brings up the power of many. Why don't we move on to the power of a few and then the power of several before we get to the power of many? I don't understand. So the mother just allows the sisters to descend into violence with each other instead of immediately putting a stop to it. And in response, After several seconds, at least several seconds, probably many seconds of them fighting with each other, the mother attacks them and uses telekinesis to push them to the ground. You're winning at the parenting thing there. So we learned that, again, Osha doesn't want to do the ascension. We heard this earlier. I didn't say anything about it. But at this point, we learned that they are witches. Now, I believe, as I recall, witches were introduced in the Clone Wars series, the animated series. Good series, but I thought the witches were stupid and should have nothing at all to do with Star Wars. We already have Jedi. And in an interview, I heard Mark Hamill referring to Obi-Wan Kenobi as a wizard. Even though he's a Jedi, we understand our human earthly colloquialisms is he's a wizard. Think of a different name. If you want to have a different sort of magic system, which this isn't, by the way, this is not a different sort of magic system. If you want to have a different sort of magic system in Star Wars, have a different name for those who wield that different sort of magic that is not earthly in nature. Don't call them wizards. Don't call them sorcerers, sorceresses, witches, warlocks, none of that. You call them Jedi because that's a cool sounding name. It's my understanding that George Lucas got that name from a Japanese movie, but it's still a term that we don't understand, that we think is foreign to us. We are explaining that these are the Jedi, they are the space wizards. Well, these other things over here are the Adej. They are the space witches. We get that there's a difference between the two. Don't call them witches. That is way too earthly. It takes me out of Star Wars. Brings me back here. Not only that, but witches are Satan worshipping. And I don't mean like the modern version of Satan worship where it's like, oh, look, don't harm children. Don't harm the weaker. No, I mean like sold their soul to Satan to destroy the goodly human beings. So, yeah, I know it's been used in a lot of different ways in modern times, the word witch, but they were evil when the word was first originated, okay? At least they were considered evil. Then for some reason, they're supposed to be told that they love each other, or they're supposed to tell each other that they love each other. I don't understand what that has to do with not wanting to go through the ascension. I really don't. So then we learn that they're all a bunch of commies. The ascension is about walking through fear, about sacrifice, about the power of many over the power of one. Okay, then. Good to know. So Osha's not allowed to do what she wants to do because she doesn't want to do the ascension. And the ascension is about becoming one with the collective. Good job, guys. Immediately after that, we are told that Osha and May are special. And the mother wants them to stay special. So which is it? Are you a bunch of commie coven lesbianims?
Lesbianims.
Or is everybody special? This is the problem with the woke. They just are freaking lost. And if you want to challenge me when I call this woke, go ahead. But this is about women being empowered to be communists and take on the Jedi. May not be very woke, but there's a little wokeness going on there. And the people out there who are going to say, you just don't like women having any power. Women having power has nothing to do with being woke. Oh, don't worry. I understand that women are allowed to have power if they want it. And it doesn't necessarily make things woke. But this is Disney Star Wars. By default, it's woke. And we know that it's woke because the underlying theme is women get power just because. Okay? And in reality, that's what we see happening, is women should just be given. The woke are just like, women should just be given because they've been oppressed for so long. Okay? That's where the tie-in is. This is not very woke. I mean, I'll agree with you. This particular episode is not very big on the woke. It's freaking terrible. My thing is, I talk about the woke stuff. So I had to go through this episode because I went through the first two episodes, which were definitely woke. Much more woke than this one is. Presenting, anyway. This is so bad, though. People warn me. People are like, we should watch the third episode. It's terrible. They're right. It is. The level of cringe in this. I've never seen anything so cringy. Nothing. Then again, the girls start fighting over nothing. Just because we have to know that there's animosity between the two. Osha says something like, oh yeah, we're not the same. And then May says, but we are. And then Osha says, no, it only feels like that because we're the only children here. No, you're actually exactly the same. You are two peas in a pod. You are genetically identical as far as I can tell. And you have the same hairstyle, and you typically wear the same clothing. I don't know why, because they've changed outfits. Is it 3 times now or 4 times since the show started? In the same day, they've changed their outfits multiple times. So they have a plethora of resources here, apparently. They can just draw from and have whatever it is they need. This is why this coven has not died out, apparently, because they can snap their fingers and they got a full wardrobe on this isolated planet. So the witches seem to be doing some sort of dance. I'm going to rewind this and actually play this, and we'll get this on recording here, because it is also so very cringy. Here we go. There is nothing extraterrestrial about this. This is very Earth-like. These are sorts of things that people would do on Earth. Make it something that is definitely not something I would be able to do myself at any age. Pretty much going to be able to stand and like move my arms around up above my head and down and then weave them around no matter how old I am. This needs to be fantastical in nature. It needs to be fantasy. This is supposed to be a fantasy. This is mundane and lame. The main lesbian mother here announces that what the thread has tied together, no one can separate. But seems to me that May and Osha have been separated in their adulthood, right? It just doesn't make any sense. I don't understand. They start chanting the power of one, the power of two, the power of many. Again, why are they skipping over a few and several? I don't understand. Not only that, this is like serious communism here. This is the lesbianism coven of communists.
Lesbianims.
And also very cringy. So May gets her fancy white tattoo on her forehead, and then she's told to ascend, and so she stands up. I mean, maybe my English is a little bit flawed here, but I thought ascension meant, rising above. Rising in some way other than just standing up. Really? Okay. So the ceremony is interrupted before May can ascend. The witches, the lesbian coven of communists here,
Lesbianims,
pull out some bows, and these look like pretty heavy-duty bows, like 50-pound bows. I don't know, maybe they're not, but they look like they are. And if you ever tried to draw, I mean, these are at least 50-pound bows, probably a lot heavier than that. Drawing that back is not going to be an easy task. People think they're like, oh, women should be the archer in the group because, they could handle a bow. Yeah, a low-pound bow. Drawing back 50 pounds, that takes work. Can you lat pull 50 pounds? I can. But a lot of people can't. A lot of women, I see women doing lat pulls at the gym with like 20 pounds, and that's heavy for them. So, just something that I noticed that maybe somebody else didn't. So the Jedi just walk in, and nobody says anything to him. He's like walking and looking around. And we're introduced to the shortest Wookiee in history, by the way. But nobody says, hey, welcome. Or how can we help you? Or why are you here? Nothing. They just let them walk in. I don't understand why you wouldn't say something to them. So there's a back and forth with the head mother of the communist coven of lesbianims.
Lesbianims.
And Osha sneaks forward so she can see the Jedi, and she's like, look at their sabers. Would she even know? Would she have been made aware that the Jedi carry around these things called lightsabers? I mean, the communist coven of lesbianims here is using bows. So they're going way back in technology. Not even using the thread to defend themselves. They don't even know how to use that to defend themselves because apparently, they're the non-violent sect of Sith. Even though we see them using telekinesis violently more than once so far in the show. Please explain it to me. The contradictions are staggering. The cringe is overwhelming. So the Jedi say, hey, look, we're concerned you're trading children. And then one of the women here says there are no children here. But don't Jedi have the ability to read minds and stuff and sense the mental energy of individuals? And couldn't they tell oh, look, we do sense children here. And then suddenly the Jedi know that there's more than one child somehow. Even though a moment ago they were like, yeah, there's no kids here. We're concerned that you're training kids. We don't have any proof. Why don't you say we know you're training children in the ways of the Force because we can sense them here because we're Jedi? I don't understand this playing coy. And then we're told that the girls have no father because they're Immaculate Conception. Something that was already given to us in The Phantom Menace. And it should not be something that is common. But you see, these modern writers, these female writers, have to have things their way. They have to be special. Women have to be special. We have to see how amazing women are. Men can't have the monopoly on Immaculate Conception. Look, we have 2 women, 2 girls who have been born through Immaculate Conception. But we don't know that for sure because head mother of the Communist Coven of
lesbinims
said that she created the girls. So did she do that with a thread? Did she do that through cloning technology? We don't know. I'm assuming it's going to be through the thread because, the women are going to have the ultimate power in the universe. And it will be stated somewhere that I'm sure Anakin was born by the thread instead of by the Force because, they're the same thing, but no, somehow they're different. What? It's so stupid. Jedi Squid Games here says the Jedi do not take children, but the Jedi do take children. And we know this. And he's even going to contradict himself later on. Then he produces the most boring lightsaber ever. So Osha takes hold of his lightsaber because, that's what you want. You're a weapon in the hands of the enemy. And he says, I think you would make a very good Jedi, Osha. Would you like to be tested to see if you could become a Jedi? But Osha is too old to become a Jedi. So is May, because they're the same age, right? So the internet says the actress playing these characters is 11. They seem like they're 12 or 13 in the way that they behave in the show. But Anakin was only 10, and he was too old. Too old to go through the training. But then again, there are exceptions, because Luke was like 20 when he took up the training. So then the head mother of the Communist Coven of
lesbinims
uses her thread power, the Force. Let's just call it it's the Force. Come on. Yeah. To take control of the Padawan here and turn his eyes black. And he falls to his knees and looks up at the sky. Again, a power I don't think we've ever seen this before. Exhibited by the Force. Maybe it's been presented somewhere that I missed or have forgotten. But introducing these new abilities and just the stupidity of it all. It's like always mind control involved a hand wave and some sort of incantation of what you wanted the person to think. This is just whatever. I just want to point out that, what's his name? Torben, I think. He's a Padawan here. So wow, he became a master real quick. Because this was 16 years ago and he's been meditating and levitating for 10 years. At least he's not been speaking to people for 10 years. We don't know. So he learned his lessons really well. Really quickly. So then there's a fight about should we let the Jedi test the girls? We shouldn't let the Jedi test the girls. No, the girls are old enough to know what they want. Yet before we were being told that the girls could not make a decision for themselves. They had to do the ascension. They had to be one with the coven of communist lesbinims. Now, one thing I do want to point out here is if you look at the girls, the women here of the communist coven of lesbinims, none of them have the spiral dot tattoo on their forehead, except for the mother. Why? Why is this not explained? Why is this not something that, it's really obvious. This was a point in an earlier episode when they brushed May's hair back to see the little symbol on her forehead. So they knew it was her instead of Osha. I don't understand. Again, nothing makes sense, and everything is cringe. And then we are introduced to what appears to be a very elderly communist lesbinims. And I'm wondering why it is that she is not the head mother. Wouldn't she have the most experience? Wouldn't she have the strongest ability because she's lived the longest and therefore had the longest period of time to develop her thread abilities? Then we get the old, it's about power and who's allowed to use it line. Because the Jedi want to take the girls away. The women of the communist coven of lesbinims. They're not allowed to have power because they're women's. Because they're lesbinims. They can't be more obvious about this. So, are homosexual people allowed to have power in the real world? Yes. They are no longer persecuted in the West, right? There might be some people out there who are like, I don't like them. Might be some people out there who are saying much worse than that, things that should be done to them. But it's not illegal anymore. People are pretty much like, yeah, whatever, you live your life, just don't involve me in it. I don't care. I got more important things to worry about than who you're sleeping with. But they can't let go of this. They have to have that victim ID. They have to have it. They're the victim. Grr. And who am I to say, right? I'm a white male. I have no right to point any of this stuff out. I'm not even allowed to speak unless spoken to. Let's take permission first. Oh, but wait. I'm 1/4 Slavic. I think that counts, right? That's what I've been told. I'm short, and that is a tough road for a man. Oh, and I'm basically have a disability. So maybe I'm not so white male, as you would put it. Excuse me, I have a question. Now, they go out to the Jedi camp here, and the Jedi made such a bold entrance into the fortress. I'm just wondering why they couldn't land their ship in or on the fortress. It looks like the fortress uses high tech in places, so I'm assuming it was developed after space travel became a thing. So wouldn't they have like a landing pad or something? I don't know. I mean, that's just a little thing that I noticed. Not a big deal. It could be explained, I'm sure, in a dozen different ways, but thought I'd throw that out there for everybody. So they let Osha go wandering around the Jedi camp, the camp of evil Jedi, because we are, told that they're the bad people, unescorted. In fact, none of the witches appear to be escorted or guarded or watched in any way. People are just going about their daily life, and the witches are there, outnumbering the Jedi. Yeah, sounds like a good idea to me. So for the test, the kids are told to lie. Say the opposite of what is in their heart, and they'll fail the test, and then they'll have to stay in the Communist Coven of Lesbinims.
Lesbinims.
So, Jedi Squid Game here is holding a space iPad. There's images that appear on it, and she's supposed to guess what the image is. Same test that was given to Anakin. And she's lying. But every time she lies, Jedi Squid Game says that's correct. And he just said that the Jedi don't take children too, so he's just a big liar. I'm wondering why it is that the Jedi with their mind abilities, their telepathic abilities, can't tell that she's lying. That doesn't make sense to me, but what do I know? So the way that the Jedi find out that she's lying is because, as Jedi Squid Game here is saying, that's correct. Mate goes to correct him. That wasn't oh. And then they're like, oh, did someone tell you to lie? To fail the test, whatever? I'm like, Ken, why would you spill the beans? Kids are good at lying. Well, kids enjoy lying. Let's put it that way. So then Jedi Squid Game goes on to explain to Osha that he was taken from his family when he was only 4. Because the Jedi don't take children. Why would you say that the Jedi don't take children when they clearly do take children? And then going back to my complaint that the Jedi can read minds, but are not, for whatever reason, May, with her inept Force abilities, can read Osha's mind when she comes off of the ship after having passed the Jedi test and becomes very angry. And then, the Jedi are accused of using Jedi mind tricks to convince Osha that she wants to be a Jedi. When Osha's just like, no, I just want to have my own life. I want to do my own thing. I don't want to be a witch. You guys are all lesbinims. I don't want to be lesbinim.
Lesbinims.
So, head lesbinim goes on to be like, hey, you get to make the decision yourself. You get to use the thread to do whatever it is you want to do because you're an individual. Osha's like, I want to be a Jedi, like my father before me. Then head lesbinim is like, oh, I'll discuss it with everybody else and then we'll make a decision for you, okay? Does she get to make the decision or doesn't she? So, Osha is busy packing because she wants to go be with the Jedi. And May comes into their room, and she's like, you can't leave. But Osha's like, no, I want to leave. I'm going to go. You can't stop me. And she's like, May's like, I will kill you. I thought the whole point of getting her to stay was so that she wouldn't be gone. And if you kill her, she's definitely going to be gone. I don't understand the logic here. I do get the implication. There's an implication to me that May's already killed off everyone that is a member of the Communist Coven of Lesbinims.
Lesbinims.
And Osha's the only one left. So then May takes Osha's sketchbook and pushes her to the ground and then runs out of the room and locks the room from the outside. Now, what do we call rooms that are lockable from the outside? Those are cells, right? Why is the room able to be locked from the outside? That doesn't make any sense. Unless this is some sort of penal colony that they just decided to colonize or settle in. Sorry, the settlers here. So then May sets aflame the metal doors and stone walls and floor because, those things burn. It's not like she tossed a bunch of gasoline around and then lit it on fire. No, this is a burning sketchbook did all this. So as May is making her way out of the room through some sort of back tunnels somehow, we hear screaming of a lot of the Communist Coven of Lesbianisms.
Lesbianisms.
So, don't know what happened there, but we'll find out. So they've presented us with some sort of reactor or something in the show, in the fortress somewhere. And it explodes for some reason. I don't know why. Don't know. I mean, there's no reason for it to be exploding. And it separates May and Osha across this little bridge here that's broken out. So Jedi Squid Game here forgets that he can use telekinesis to grab people. And he lets May fall to her apparent death, and he catches Osha by the wrist as she's falling off of the bridge as it collapses. We just saw him use the Force to catch somebody, to catch Osha specifically when she was falling in the last episode. I just don't understand. Then all of the Communist Coven of Lesbianisms is dead. All of them. Why? How? What happened to they're all just kind of like standing around? It's all died. Poison gas. I don't know. We heard them screaming earlier. So something had to happen to kill them. What? It doesn't really make any sense that they would all just be laying here like this, dead. I don't see blood. I don't see any lightsaber marks. I don't see any blaster marks. Nothing. They're just, we all decided to take a nap all at the same time. And we're not going to get up from it. It just doesn't make sense. What is happening here? So this whole massive fortress is collapsing for some reason. It's on fire. It's falling apart. We don't know why, but it seems to me something big would have had to happen to do this, but okay. Then we're told that May started a fire and it destroyed everything. And I have to ask, why is it that the adults in the coven died, but the children, the ones with less strength, less life experience, survived? It's because they're immaculate conception. I know, that's why. And it ends with us seeing May all alone on the planet. And I have the question, how did she survive by herself, a child, on this isolated wilderness planet? It's supposed to be dangerous. It's dangerous out there in the wilderness. So dangerous that in the beginning, Mother Coral was unhappy with them for being out in the wilderness. So whatever, I don't know. It's just, this episode was terrible. The first two episodes, it seems like, okay, they're setting us up for this fun action-adventure show. Yeah, it's too woke for my taste, but, I mean, it might be fun besides if we can just see past that and just allow the action-adventure story to unfold. This episode had absolutely nothing to do, well, not absolutely nothing, but it is unessential for the overall story because the story takes place 16 years in the future. We don't need to know the backstory. We don't. But they put this in here to ruin the show. That's all I can think. I mean, we got to have the hunted down Communist Coven of Lesbianisms.
Lesbianisms.
There has to be a reason for them not liking us. I mean, we're just a bunch of communist lesbianisms. That's not a bad thing. They're hunting us down. They're deranged monks. I think they called them deranged monks at one point in the show. But the thing is you guys are the Sith. They describe the way they use the Force, what they use the Force for. It's like the Sith. That's why you're being hunted down. It has nothing to do with your politics or your sexuality. But of course, the people who created this show can't divorce the two things. It's like, I'm a bad person because the powers that be say I'm a bad person, but nobody's saying that anymore. Well, there are some people, but not the powers that be. We don't care anymore. We have other important things to worry about, right? Anyway, super cringe, super terrible episode. Show is garbage because of this episode. And I don't know if I'm going to watch any more of it. Maybe I will just for the cringe factor. But, I mean, we're talking levels of cringe beyond the holiday special. And not that the holiday special isn't super extra amazingly cringy, but it wasn't trying to take itself seriously. This here, the cringiness is written into the story. Whereas the holiday special was like, hey, look, it's Star Wars. We're going to make some awesome Star Wars thing. And it just turned out to be cringy, is what it seems like to me. This is like, here, I'm going to serve you some cringe on a cracker. Here you go. Have it. Enjoy. Anyway, thanks for watching. I do appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next episode.